properties. Hey, Battlehammer, say something.
Yeah, I'm here. You got me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear
I
you,
can hear
but
you.
I'm just trying to
Yabo
see if the
underscore
stream can
1071
hear you
said you're
guys.
up now.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
do every time I change a setting.
Yabo
yeah,
underscore
so Jamaica was
1071
awesome.
said
We
you're
did some
welcome.
snorkeling, did quite a bit of that, and I couldn't believe all the wildlife we saw. There's a eagle stingray, this big, there's like a 3-4 foot fish in there. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, I was in like 2 foot of water and this thing was just huge. I'm like, holy crap. All kinds of crabs, rock crabs, and oh, we even saw an octopus, a big one. It was pretty fun.
Fishing? Did you go any fishing?
No, but we saw a lot of them. The drinks were a lot smaller down there than they are up here, though.
Yeah, something tells me that's not a surprise. And a plethora of rum.
Yes, yes. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a good time. Nice, relaxing.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, the hardest part was getting there and getting back. The airports were just rough between storms and delays and everything else with planes, you know.
Well, you made it, and it sounds like you had fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. I'd do it again.
Now, your former employer's closed, right?
Yep, yep. I'm unemployed as of yesterday morning.
Well, I was starting to think with all the trying to get things back in the U.S., particularly drug manufacturing, you guys process sugar, right?
Yep.
Wonder if they're going to sell the building to a drug manufacturer. Some of that equipment should
Yeah,
be
who
useful
knows?
for that.
Well, I'm always about reusing or recycling, you know. But
Well, there's a facility there, right? I mean, factories
oh
take
yeah,
time. Might as well reuse a factory. God knows we need drug manufacturing back in this country. At least something.
Right.
And I have no doubt not everything's going to ever come back, but it's kind of ridiculous that we have nothing.
right. So you guys didn't bust the holes through the crossroads yet, then?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were doing some stuff there. I'm telling you, they're just
Huh.
breaking all
'Cause
the
I'm
rules.
I'm standing at a barrier that I can't get through. It's like purple.
Hmm.
And I don't have the master key on me. I'm looking. No, I do not. Dang. So what's new in the world of Moria that I've been missing out on since I've been on a hiatus?
Not much. We had a patch. It was
Did
a
that
good
fix
one.
it, Alaskan? All right. Well, thank you, Alaskan, because it was a Discord setting. I appreciate the help.
Oh, I didn't know you were still looking for help. I would have.
That's right. I was just. It
Oh,
was in my voice settings. My output device was switched wrong. I switched it because I was getting echo from you guys earlier, and then I switched it to the wrong thing. But now I've got it switched to the right thing.
So did Alaskan leave?
Nope, she's here. Jubo left. Jubo went to bed.
Ah, Alaskan. I'll show you the my copied tower building.
Oh yeah, jump over to Mereak's YouTube stream and check that out.
Now it's not perfect.
It looks good though. I like it.
I didn't like how the big pillars looked when I tried to put a door in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used Alaskan the medium-sized pillar, not the fat ones, the chunky ones, but
The small column, the small granite columns, I think is what
Yeah.
they're called. They come
Yeah.
in a three-piece section.
and so I built a floor-to-ceiling tower here. Didn't quite line up on the floor the way I
Alaskan
wanted it.
Cater Gaming said wait You built the tower.
Yeah, I built the tower.
Kashumi said looks great.
Yeah, I copied your tower methodology. It worked great. See? Now, it's not completely perfect, but it's my first attempt. And I had some instability right here. You can see that it
Alaskan
bumps
Cater
in a
Gaming
little.
said amazing. Nice.
And I don't know why right there was the only area there that I had to like triple up. It was where I started actually, I think. But here's the downstairs, and then if you go upstairs, I'll take you upstairs and there's stairs in there. I copied your design almost entirely other than the size of the column I used. Kind of imagine this as like a tower keep that guards this bridge.
Kashumi said that's a lot of ale.
Yeah.
I know. It's a lot of ale until you get these guys in here drinking, and then it doesn't last very long. So anyway,
Yeah, blame everyone else for your drinking problems, Mereak.
oh, I participate. Anyway, Alaskans, so here, I don't know what I'm going to do in this room, but
Kashumi said that wasn't a complaint. Can never have too much ale.
that is true. And so I put a couple windows in here, and of course the two doors, and there's the stone ceiling. Got the little gaps here I didn't fill in because then it pokes through too much. But I did it. I wanted the experience of building a tower following your method, and it worked very well.
Alaskan Cater Gaming said very cool.
Oh, that's poking out there. Dang it, I'm gonna have to hide that. Maybe I'll throw lattice over it. That's what Jubo does. Throw greenery and lettuce and wood over the top. You'll never see anything.
Yep.
And it looks good too. That's the thing. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. The other day she was building in the aftermath, or the last couple days, and I've had it playing in the background. And
Hey, Pyro.
Alaskan Cater Gaming
Mereak
said I
is
use
talking about
glaziers to hide
column.
Yeah.
He built a tower out of columns, and it's a method that Alaskan Care, who's also in the Discord and streams on Twitch, she came up with that method, and it works pretty great. So
Yeah.
that's what he's talking about.
It takes some practice, I'll tell you that. I mean, it is not like...
I'll jump down there so Pyro can see it. Pilgrim Roadhouse. Better eat some lambas.
Alaskan Care Gaming said it takes a lot of patience. Kashumi said the devs have not fixed the building issue yet.
No, I know. It's driving me nuts.
Alaskan Care Gaming said thanks for sharing.
Yeah. When I finally give a tour video of this place, I'll make sure to give you credit. That was your method, and it did work well. Almost made me want to buy a controller just to try using it. Staying centered is the hard part.
Alaskan
So
Care
there's the
Gaming
tower I'm
said,
coming
"Oh
up
right.
to, Pyro.
How much harder is it
Mereak's
on
talking
PC?"
about.
I don't know how to compare it, Alaskan, but it wasn't easy. I will tell you that.
You need to get some bug spray, Mereak.
Why? You got a moth or
Kashumi
something?
said, "I didn't think of it being harder on a mouse
They're
slash keyboard."
spiders.
Oh. You guys don't need help, do you?
No, no. It was just one, actually.
It's not impossible, obviously, Alaskan, and I don't... It's nothing to do
Here's the
with your
upstairs,
method.
Pyro.
It's more to do with the fact that it's hard to rotate in place on a PC, exactly in place.
So Pyro, if you're looking for some instruction on that, I believe Alaskan Care has a video on it, or maybe a couple of videos on it. She's Alaskan Care 911 on Twitch, and I believe it's Alaskan Care Gaming on YouTube.
So Alaskan, the one thing that I did slightly different is in the center.
Kashumi said, "Are you using a mouse or a trackball?"
I use a mouse. My wife uses the trackball. Stop climbing out of there.
This is pretty cool.
Anyway, Alaskan,
build all
this
this
is
in
what
area?
I did. Yeah, I've built all that. This is my big build in this world. So instead of just having a center, I got frustrated, so I created this to stand on in the center. And that way, if I moved a little bit, I could just look above me and recenter me. And it worked pretty well.
Kashumi said,
Sorry,
"I
Pyro,
find
I'm
it
not sure
much
what you're
easier
talking
to
about, bud.
control on a trackball." Alaskan Care Gaming said, "Yet."
Really? Well, Kasumi agrees with you that the trackball is better for them.
Of course.
Yeah, my wife's a huge trackball fan. I can't stand the trackball.
Oh, gotcha.
It takes a big adjustment to get used to working with the trackball.
Do you use a trackball?
I have in the past. It's been a while since I've used one. and like
Alaskan Care
whenever I go
Gaming
back
said
to
I
it,
put
it
a
takes me
single tile
like
down too. You need
several
reference for
days to
center.
a couple weeks to get used to it.
Is that where you
Yeah.
gotta use 3 fingers to move that thing around?
No, my wife just uses one.
Yeah.
But the so Alaskan, the at least for me, that what I just showed you is how I kept myself centered. It worked the best for me.
Kashumi said no, just the thumb to move around.
Yeah, that's what my wife uses, just her thumb.
Different trackballs are sized differently though, so like if you get like a big one, I've known a few people who like that because it's easier to get like really fine control with multiple fingers.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But it's more of an option than a necessity.
I mean, I've used one before when I use my wife's computer, but I just use my thumb. It's just not my favorite device.
Yeah.
I do hate it.
Tell us how you really feel.
No, she's like, you hate it. I'm like, yes, I do. I admit it. I do not like it, Sam. I do not like it with green eggs and ham. I don't like it on a boat or in a moat or with a mouse in a house.
I really got in the what caused me to learn to use a trackball was
Kashumi
I
said
wanted
LOL.
something that I could like
And now
just
I hate the
use
mouse.
on my knee
Oh, okay.
like with a laptop when I was in college. It was like take a laptop in. I hated using the trackpad. Those are awful.
Oh, those are awful. I
Yeah.
take a trackball
Kashumi said
over a
also good on
trackpad
airplanes.
any day of the year.
Yeah. So I got a trackball that I could plug in and rest on my leg and then just use that.
I hear, well, that I get completely.
And after using it for long enough, you get it becomes pretty natural feeling.
Now, do you use it for games too?
I have, yeah. And there are some things that you can do with a trackball that you can't really do with a mouse. Like,
Who is
as long as the
shooting at me?
trackball's not dusty, you can spin the trackball and
it's
keep,
terrain. Okay.
and your character will just keep
I
spinning.
see prey ahead.
Yeah, but Alaska, what if I decide to read it out loud?
I was shooting some of these goats over here. I
Get
need
outta
some
here.
meat.
Shooting
outta
goats
here.
is fine. Shooting
There's
goats is
a herd
fine.
of
Don't
goats
listen to
over
him.
here. There's about 8 of them. And I'm
Don't
like,
listen
ooh.
to him. There's nothing wrong with shooting the meat.
I didn't want him on his screen because it'd be like goats are friends. There's one running, Mereak, right there. See it?
I don't have a crossbow, so.
Where did all this stuff just come from?
That's from all those goats I was shooting. Was it meat and hide?
A damaged a Bach.
Battlehammer,
Yeah.
you're contractually obligated not to kill goats.
I didn't sign that paper.
You did, though. I'll have to kick you out of the guild.
I thought that's just throwing punches. I didn't see anything about goats are friends.
Well, it's not my fault you can't read.
I'm gonna have to review that fine print. then.
Goats are food. No, well, that's the shark movie or whatever. Fish are friends, not food. Yeah, well, that's fish.
Nope, it's goats too. Kasumi
Yeah.
agrees with me.
That's true. The one shark had a fish bone sticking out of its tooth when he was saying that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was funny.
What are you all going to do when goats are companion animals?
That's not going to
Well,
happen.
look,
They're going to be companion meals, is what they're going to be.
I've been to Korea and didn't know it at the time, but it didn't bother me either. I ate dog there, and I've had dogs. So
What did that taste like?
just gamey food. Gamey food. You cook stuff with enough sauce and spice, you really don't taste it. There's still places in the world. In fact, it's now legal again in the U.S. to sell a horse. I've ridden horses.
I've
I
eaten
like.
horse.
I so
Voodoo said fun game. I haven't played in a while.
I flustered you, didn't I? You didn't expect anybody in this chat to say that, did you?
I did not.
So we used to elk hunt and bear hunt in Colorado, and we'd go out there and we would rent horses to ride in the mountains while we were hunting. We'd hunt from horseback, and the the farm or the rancher that delivered our horses to us gave us a log of summer sausage and said, "Here, try this and let me know what you guys think." And my dad was like, "Well, what is it?" He's like, "Well, I'm not going to tell you. You try it and tell me what you think." And we tried it, and we all thought it was pretty good. Just kind of like a typical beef summer sausage. And so he came back to pick up the horses like a week later, and he's like, "So what'd you guys think of the sausage?" And we were like, "Yeah, it was good." And me and my dad had already figured out what it was, but one of the guys that was hunting with us was like, "Well, you going to tell us what it is?" He's like, "What was horse?" We had like a 22-year-old horse that went lame and had to be put down, and we don't waste anything, so we made
See,
summer sausage.
that doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me. I mean, people
Right.
used to eat horse in this country all the time,
Yep.
and then for the exact same reason you just mentioned. And then I forget why it was banned or whatever, but it's now no longer banned again. But
Yeah.
that doesn't bother me.
Kasumi says, if someone tells you to eat something and won't tell you what it is, don't eat it. And while that makes perfect sense to me, that's a
He's
perfectly
generally good at
logical
this.
response. I personally have never refused to eat something, so
See, I have a
just
slightly
based on
different rule, which is if you're in another country, you eat what they eat. You don't
Yep.
try to eat American out in
when in
another
Rome.
country. Yeah, because they know how to prepare the food that they're used to, and if you go get a hamburger, like, you're never going to be sicker.
Right.
Unless you go to like a true McDonald's, or something like that, because
Yep.
but then it's not exactly the same anyway. And particularly in a country like Korea, where when I was there, everything was different, right?
Mm-hmm.
As before, I mean, at least where I grew up, they didn't have Korean restaurants. We had one.
Kashumi said that's all good, but at least they tell you what you're eating.
Well, if you understand what they're saying. But you got to remember, where I grew up, it was like, okay, we had one Mexican restaurant. It was called Taco Bell, and we didn't get one till like 1990.
Right.
I mean, it just, yeah, that was it.
You only had one chicken place, Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is disgusting.
Oh, I know. We only had Kentucky Fried Chicken in my hometown, and when I came down here and got Popeyes, I thought, oh my God, this is fantastic.
I love some Popeyes.
Oh, I love me some Popeyes. The first time I had one of those Popeyes chicken sandwiches that was spicy, my wife got it for us. So she went out and bought a bunch of them and brought them back. And I'm like, yep, I now totally understand how one guy murdered another guy over this sandwich. I can see it. Fight breaks out over the sandwich. This is a good sandwich.
Oh, I don't think I could live like that, Alaskan. Alaskan says they only have a Subway where she's at, not even a pizza joint.
Oh,
It's not even a good sandwich shop.
Well, there are worse. But yeah, I mean, wow. I don't know if I could live without pie. I mean, I just,
Right,
oh,
right.
they don't even. Alaskan was saying, dear, they don't even have pizza.
Wow.
I mean, we don't even have
That
great
makes sense.
pizza.
They don't have the water. Remember?
Well, they got plenty of water. They're in Alaska.
Not,
They,
not like New York water.
well, they don't have water like New York water, but yeah, that's true. But oh my God, yeah, that's not good.
Hey, you should give her Oscanito. See if they still sell you frozen pizzas.
They have a range, dear. They can't freeze dry pizza and send it that far. No, seriously, my favorite pizza place, they will put in dry ice the pies and send them, like half cooked with all the parts and send them to you.
Yeah.
You got that for Father's Day that year.
Yeah, every once in a blue moon she'll get me, but you got to order a few of them to make it economical. They are not cheap
Right.
that way.
It's like $50 a pie.
I was just talking earlier to Kasumi and Sprouts and Jubo. I have a particular rope sausage that I like that is made in Evergreen, Alabama. I've driven 15 hours for that rope sausage.
Okay.
Like
They
the
just
first
won't
time
ship it to you?
they will ship it to me, but if I order $100 worth of sausage, they charge $150 for shipping,
Oh, geez.
and they only ship during the winter months.
There's no break point on that?
Nope. Nope. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
And I could travel to the furthest north I can get it is like Nashville. So the 2 times ago that I got it, we were vacationing in Destin, Florida, and picked it up on the way home. And then I took some of that sausage and shared it with some of my friends, and enough of them liked it. They liked it enough that they put in a big order with me. So I just drove down to the factory and bought like $2,000 worth of sausage and brought it home and divvied it up to everybody, and they helped pay for my gas.
Did they
So-
pre-freeze it for you?
Yeah, it was frozen when I got there. So, yep.
Nice.
I just took a bunch of big Yeti coolers that, keep
Yeah.
shit cold for 10 days.
So if I go up to New York, I call up a pizza company called Oscanizos,
Mm.
which they make. It's not typical New York thin crust circular pizza. It's a square pizza. It's a very old style. Oscanizzo in Italian means pizza peddler.
Okay.
And this place they've got a certificate. It's been in business, registered business in New York for over 120 years.
Wow.
Jesus.
And the place is, I mean, you look at it and you're like, wow, this place is a shithole. Well, it's been in the same building for 120
Right.
years. It's an old place. Anyway, food is good. You'll never get sick. At reasonable prices, and everything is made homemade and fresh. And the way they make their pizza is like the pizza peddlers in Italy, which is the sauce is on the top.
Yep.
And so you've got your dough layered in your cheeses, including provolone and mozzarella and all of that. And then your toppings. So then if you want, like I like number 7, which is sausage and mushroom. And it's on the right to the edges of the pie. And it's always been that way. And so it's like a complete layer of sausage and a complete layer of mushrooms. And then they throw more cheese on the top of it. And then they bake that. And then when it's done, they put hot sauce on the top of it and grated Romano cheese. Oh, it is unbelievable. Anyway, so when I go up there, I'll pre-order a bunch. instead of having them
Voodoo
shipped.
said you guys are making
Right.
me hungry.
Yeah,
Might
sorry.
have to make a frozen pizza.
Oh God. Oh yeah.
So
Anyway,
Kasumi says that she drives to Portland for In-N-Out, and I think she's in Seattle.
oh,
What's that, about a 3-hour drive, Kasumi?
What's in and out?
oh, it's a burger joint. You never had an
Yeah.
In-N-Out burger?
No, I don't think I ever heard of it.
No In-N-Out in the Midwest.
No, they're not Midwest. No, they're definitely West Coast.
Voodoo said,
What's
well,
so
it's too
special
late
about
to order anything here.
I saw some in the Southern Virginia.
Is there In-N-Out like in the Texas South too? I think
I'm
I've
not
had
sure
it
about
in
that.
Texas. There's nothing hugely special. It's just out of the fast food joints, it's a good burger.
Something you do on your grill.
Kasumi
Yeah.
says it's out to Texas now.
Yeah, I thought the last place I had one was when I was in Texas. I used to fly into Texas to switch planes to get to Louisiana in my last job.
That makes sense because there's been a huge influx of people moving out of California to Texas. So
Kashumi said it's not the same as a Cali In-N-Out, but still better than nothing.
Alaskan says that they don't have any kind of food delivery there either. No DoorDash or anything like that. She says newbies don't last long there.
Yeah.
That wouldn't bother me. Every time I've ordered DoorDash from anywhere, they screw it up. So if I even get my food,
Well,
I have like $50 worth of DoorDash vouchers that I'm never going to use.
I have a lot better luck with DoorDash.
Any of those food delivery services, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, they've all messed it up for me.
All right, I can't do these pieces. They're gonna have to wait till they fix that damn bug.
What pieces are those?
And the corners, you know.
Oh. Like doing the floor tiles, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, don't forget you have to drop off my car in the morning.
I know. I already told Joseph he's going with me in the morning. Got to bring my wife's vehicle in for service.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to try an In-N-Out burger, it is definitely worth it. I prefer Five Guys personally, but I don't know if you guys got a Five Guys out there, but
We do. And Five Guys is okay, but I don't do much fast food at all anymore, so.
it's not like I do all the time. But it's a decent burger. It's decent.
If I do a burger, it's like a fast food burger, it's usually
Kashumi said we
Culver's.
do. It's okay.
Which is a Wisconsin fast food place.
What is? I'm sorry.
Culver's.
Culver's.
They're famous for their butter burgers. They mix butter in with their ground beef. Super healthy.
Oh yeah. I think when we stopped talking about healthy when we started talking about burgers.
Where's these rope ladders go with the drain pumps?
I don't know. Kasumi says there's a California burger place that's expanding called The Habit. It's really good. I've never heard of that one. I've had Whataburger.
Well, Whataburger, yeah. I've heard of Whataburger. I've been to a Whataburger.
What's the there's another New York burger, like smash burger joint.
Oh, we have a
Shake
smash
Shack.
burger.
Shake Shack.
Yeah,
Shake Shack.
I've been there.
Those have expanded to Chicago, so I've had those. Those were pretty good.
Of course, White Castle. I mean, do you remember
no, thank
I
you.
don't know if there's anybody. Oh, dude. After a night of being on the town and bars, that's a good burger. All that grease and
Right?
onion.
Nope.
I remember that from college. Oh,
My father-in-law loves White Castle.
Kashumi
and
said, "Now
I
I'm
can't
hungry."
stand it.
no, I never liked them, huh?
Nope.
Man, there is a pile of bat droppings all over the place in here.
Yeah.
They really
Yep.
outdid themselves from we're hardly getting any to holy crap.
Sometimes they do that. I've noticed. Someone else was mentioning that the other day. It was like, they went from hardly nothing to holy crap.
No pun intended.
Right?
Yeah.
Do they do anything different with that bite weed? Can you use it for anything else besides the orcish brew?
No. But they did replace the mushroom. Now has a purpose. That deep mushroom.
The
Yeah.
Aberrant cave caps. Yeah.
What's its purpose now?
It will restore some health, but but at the expense of consuming your cheddar bar.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In other words, it's a shroom. It gives you the munchies,
Right.
but it makes you feel like you're full health.
Yep. Are you with us, I will? You didn't starve to death, did you?
I haven't
think
heard
he
him in a
jumped-
while. He said he had to go for a
Oh.
minute, and I don't think he ever came back.
Do you guys have the display on the left side of the screen, or is it just me? With all of us.
Oh, no, I've got that, yeah. It's a Discord thing.
Yeah, 'cause I see it looks like his mic's off and his headset's off.
Yeah, he probably
he's muted.
he
He's
wasn't
muted.
feeling well.
He's still in the chat. He's just muted, so he must have stepped away.
Well, he said he was stepping away.
Okay.
I hadn't heard him come back.
I heard him say he was going to step away, but I thought I heard him after that. I must not have. Must have mentioned that.
Oh, unless you heard him and I didn't. I mean,
I was talking to Sprouts earlier tonight, and she came up with the idea that maybe the debug menu would allow her to spawn in, because she's been playing with it a little bit, would allow her to spawn in the evening ale kegs that we find in buildings, the ones that refill themselves.
Ooh,
She didn't have time to check it out, but it's on her list of things to check out. That would be pretty cool.
that would be cool.
I said that might be the thing that pushes me over the edge on getting the debug menu. What are you doing, Battlehammer?
Oh, I'm lost in the lower deeps trying to find my way out of here. Just exploring. I was checking out the tower, then I found the drain pumps, and then I was like checking things out. And I was like, huh. Found the Pilgrim library. And then now I got turned around the mines. Or the lower deeps.
Yeah.
Gathering supplies, getting some bat droppings.
You should go to the Elven Quarter where our base is and check that out.
Was it pretty snazzy, is it?
It's interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it snazzy. Oh, I will. Are
No.
you back? I thought I heard him laugh.
Oh.
Oh, dang.
Can you still build with the Christmas lights, or do they take that away?
No,
Nope,
no.
you can still build with them. They did start charging for the for that DLC. It's only 99 cents, but
They did warn everybody though.
yeah, yep. They said it was going to be free at first, and then they decide what to do with it. But I know I wanted to talk to you, but I wish Iwo was still here. 'Cause I'd like his opinion on it too. But the DLC tease today. How'd you feel about that?
Well, I don't know if you saw my comment.
I don't think I did.
So there were 2 items in that picture
Oh, yeah, I
that we
did.
cannot build.
Yep, I did.
So I asked if they were teasing that or the skeletons in the head. Personally, if it's just the skeletons in the head, I'm like, okay. I mean,
Right.
I'll get it. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
I was hoping for more building stuff.
So I've been having a discussion with some other people privately outside of the Discord, but people from the Discord about like I'm getting burnt out. And I think what I need to prevent me from getting completely burnt out is new content. And what I mean by new content is furthering the storyline. Adding some new bosses, all the things that come with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Kashumi
I don't
said
think
if
we're
it's
gonna
just the
get that.
taxidermy thing, it'll be the first DLC I don't buy.
Tharkoon said at some point in time that furthering the storyline content would come in the next major update. So that begs the question: what defines a major update? Right? Is a title update a major update, or or is it something different? So, and I don't know, but somebody mentioned tonight, and I think it's a perfectly good point, like teasing DLC content without teasing or hinting at what's to come for non-DLC content is frustrating, to say the least, because while I don't have any problem throwing money at the game for DLCs because I feel like I'm supporting the development of the game at large when I buy a DLC, I also want to see that they're working on something bigger than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I've always had an issue with how, and I know they don't want to be committal. I get it, and
I get that too, but you have to be a little bit committal, otherwise you're going to lose people, and I think they're already losing people.
well,
Strider left the keg chat that he was in with us, and he left the Discord in general. He's not in the Return to Moria Discord,
you know,
and obviously he's one person. You know, that's not going to make or break the game, but he was a pretty dedicated player, and he's pieced out because he got bored with the game. And I feel like the Discord has been much quieter since the uptick in Discord activity didn't last as long after the last update as it normally does, and I think we've gotten quieter than it was pre-update on the Discord.
well, I can definitely say that I too buy the DLCs because I want to support the game and the people. I'm waiting for the more content, and I really want the build system to be fixed and expanded.
Right.
Beyond anything else, I'd rather have that first, and I want NPCs. So
Yeah.
if they're working on anything, I think in order, build system for me, build system NPCs. Yeah, definitely want those. But I don't know what they're working on, or
Right. I want build content, more build content, and I want NPCs, and I want furthering of the storyline. And I think that some of that stuff can come together. But
Kashumi said they've commented they're working on NPCs.
if they're not, if the next major update isn't furthering of content, furthering of the storyline, giving us new areas to explore, something to that effect, it better be building. It better be an update to the building system and a bunch of build pieces,
Kashumi said, but not saying anything about build content or storyline.
In my opinion, that's what I want to see. So,
well, they did, Kasumi, say that they were looking at a new or major update to the build system. They did say that in the last what was that?
the Forge talk.
The Forge talk, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they were very, again, non-committal and non-specific. And I get he doesn't want to commit to something that he can't deliver on. I get that, but people want to know what to expect and when.
Right.
And you want to keep just enough hype up with the game where if people step away for a minute, they're not going to forget about the game.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where he's going.
I don't know where he's going either. I think that he's on the wrong track if he thinks that teasing DLC is going to be is going to do the trick to keep people engaged. And I'm trying to think of a constructive way to present that to him and the rest of the dev team.
I don't know if they would listen to us, to be honest.
Right. Right. Does anybody know where I Will is?
No.
I just turned.
Oh, hey.
I wasn't wondering. I knew that you stepped away from the keyboard or whatever, but I just saw that you're dead, so I was going to come revive you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Yes.
Where are you at?
I don't know actually. Where am I? Somewhere in the lower deeps.
Okay.
Oh, I got
Um,
orcs in here.
I'm west of somebody who's a blue arrow.
I'm lost in the lower deep side, Will, if that helps.
That might be
This
you.
one's done
Turn
in.
to the west.
I just traveled to Mereak's Roadhouse, so the Pilgrim Roadhouse. So it's a race. Except I have a loading screen, so I'll probably lose.
No, you'll probably win because I am really turned around in this sucker.
If you're the one who keeps spinning around on the mini map, then,
I don't know. It might be me. Ah,
So the map getting fixed was something they needed to do. But I hate to say it, and I like the changes they made, don't get me wrong. But I don't think we needed a new food system. You know, a new growing system,
Yeah.
personally.
Yep.
It's nice. I mean, I like it, but that would not have been on the top of the shit I would have done.
Right.
Of course, I don't run the game, so I don't get to decide. But yeah,
Yep.
that's. I mean, eh.
I mean, it was a good addition. I don't think it was worthy of an entire title update. Like being the focus of a title update. Zeta is in my YouTube chat, and he just said the tease about furthering the story was on March 26th, the same day as title update
Kashumi
5.
said people wanted
So I
to
would
be able
expect
to
it to
grow
be the
trees,
next title
and they
update,
needed to fix the bat
meaning
droppings
the
shortage.
continuing of the story content. So, and I don't know, but
You know, that's
what's
a
the
fair
title
point.
update?
The last one is when they made the changes to farming. Kashimi just said people really wanted to grow trees, and I'm like, yeah, I got that. I mean, yes, people did want to grow trees, but you didn't have to rebuild the entire growing system to be able to give us the ability to grow trees.
right. Well, I think that also had something to do with they were going to increase the bat droppings, but still, that's not a good enough reason, in my opinion. But
it may just. While I mean, it would seem like they wouldn't have to change the whole revamp the whole growing system. It may be that there was so many changes required to the growing system in order to get trees implemented the way they needed to, that they figured it was just worth getting the art and other assets into it and actually calling it an update instead of mishmashing a whole bunch of small, unrelated
right.
things
Now that's
together.
fair, right? You're replacing the water pump. You're gonna do a complete oil change, flush and fill. I mean, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
You know, the hood's open. You might as well take care of the stuff around where you are.
Well, and the Endcraft DLC was themed towards spring, so the rest of the update needed to be themed towards spring in their mind. So,
yeah, I think actually theming is a good
yeah, I agree.
perception to understand why that choice may.
Found you guys.
No, I found you.
And
Well, I'm poisoned,
that's
so.
fair. I think that's fair. Yeah, I can't get that one in there. But we were saying game's starting to get a little stale without new content.
Like furthering of the storyline content, new quests, new areas, new bosses, that combination of stuff.
NPC storyline build system update.
Yep.
That's what we need the most. I know Davey was
What would you have
talking
the
about a couple
NPCs
things,
do?
but well, there's an entire conversation about that. Just simple interactions, give people we'd attract dwarves and they would, you know, do some menial task.
Yeah,
Just
NPCs could be implemented in 1,000 different ways, but how exactly the developers are going to choose to do that remains to be seen. But it'll probably be pretty simple, I think.
yeah, I don't think people care.
Nope,
There's
I
a
don't think so either.
bunch of games with simple NPC, you know,
Hmm.
implementations people are
I
more
think
than happy with.
I think I will said something last time about the NPCs in Enshrouded and how they changed how the NPCs worked, and it's kind of irritating. Didn't you, I will?
Yeah. Yeah, they're always. So you can you can disable their movement, but now that they
Okay.
walk around, they're always getting in the way. They'll stand
Right.
in doorways where you need to go through, and then you can't go through the doorway. They'll open
Right.
doors that you want to stay closed,
Mm.
so on and
Yeah,
so
that's no
forth.
good.
Yeah. Uh-oh,
Alaskan
I'm about.
says the devs should be paying attention to people making up games to play within the game and try to entertain it, to try and entertain themselves as a sign something needs to be added.
Oh, they changed some of the mechanics. I just killed the Watcher in the water on everything on the highest setting,
Hmm.
solo. And my normal method that I've used, how many times have you seen me use that method with putting down
Building
the
the
stone
foundations.
and yeah, and then building the little hut, you know.
Yeah.
How many times have I done? All of a sudden, it didn't work today. I kept getting killed. I got one-shotted, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, someone put an effort into making this harder. I don't even know
Right.
when they did that,
Right.
but yeah, making the game harder is not the issue. Um,
I agree with that, Alaskan. Alaskan says that there shouldn't be any NPCs until post end game.
oh yes, well I definitely said that too.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to the storyline of you being a lone dwarf in Moria or a lone company of dwarves in Moria, and all of a sudden you're going to start running into NPCs. No, the
the
only
only
the only NPC that should appear before you open the Dimrill gate is a goat. Is a goat companion, or if they do something with ravens that is not tied to other NPCs.
right a companion NPC, animal companion NPC makes sense,
Yes. Yep.
not a dwarf
Right.
of any type. Yeah,
At
I
the
Like a
definitely
bear?
agree.
At the most, I could accept like a dwarf that fell in with you at the very beginning.
Right.
Which
But
is
I think that should just be reserved for a co-op dwarf. So,
yeah.
I mean, I understand the argument for it, but I would not go that route. I also think that if they're going to give us goat companions, which if they only give us one animal companion, I want it to be a goat. But if they're going to give us a goat companion, why not a wolf? Why not a boar? Why not a bear? You know.
Well, wolves, I would see a reason not to have, since wolves generally play an antagonistic role in Tolkien's lore.
Yeah.
True. Yes, that makes sense. Yep.
But aside from that, like,
What about a cat?
Well, there's no cats in the game, so that would be. I think that would be harder. My point is, if you're going to do the work to the system to make a goat into a companion, bears exist also. So why not a bear? But
Well,
a cat, you would have to create a cat and create the cat from scratch. The goats and the bears already exist. I don't know anything about programming a game, so maybe I'm completely off base with that, but that's my thought.
well, the mechanic and what it looks like are two different things. I'm sure I would agree with that. The mechanics of how something works, though, is unique. So if it had special abilities, or if you're talking about something that just walked around, if it's something that just walked around, that's different. As soon as you want it to do things, that can be a whole different ball of wax.
So my question is, if you want to make an animal companion, let's say you wanted to make a companion goat, and sorry, hang on. So if you wanted to make a companion goat, the goat already exists in the game. Would it not be easier to turn the existing goat animations into a workable companion with abilities than it would be to create, say, a dog or a cat from scratch and then turn it into a companion animal too?
Well, again, my understanding the way games work, there's mechanics and then there's the graphics. The graphics, obviously you already have the goat. So you're going to add packs and stuff to it, right?
Right.
But
Right.
otherwise, you just save the time for the bulk of the graphics work getting done, which is work, but it's not what I would think is the hard work. Now, a companion that doesn't do combat or anything special, maybe it's a pack animal. Well, the graphics, how it follows you, how you interact with it, how you load things in and out of it, that's important.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't have to worry about it being combat useful.
Right.
And so if you had a bear and you wanted to attack, well, now you've got to take all the stuff about the bear that does the attack plus the graphics.
Right.
So there's a certain amount of reuse, I would think. What do you think, I will?
So yeah, I mean, you've got the assets, right? And creating new assets, which might include, certain things like packs on a bear might be different than packs on a goat or whatever. That's some degree of man hours, but then the features of those what what you're referring to as the mechanics, so to say. The features of that new mechanic are going to be a different thing to implement, and depending on what resources they have within their team, one or the other may be an easier thing to implement. There's certainly advantages to being able to repurpose assets that you already have, like that's saved time, regardless of what you choose to do. But whether that savings becomes significant or not is kind of a different question. So,
Sure.
Yeah, what he said. I agree. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Which is kind of where my mind was. Like, I thought it would be easier to use the existing animals that were in the game than to add a completely new animal. But the level of ease that you're saving might be negligible and not matter. So
yeah, it might be relatively insignificant compared to the other hurdles.
right. Alaska's saying that she thinks that bears would probably be pretty easy because if you're using it as an attack, as a battle companion, the bear already attacks. You just have to program it to not attack your character and to follow you around and be able to be called to your side or something like that, which kind of makes sense. But I'm not a developer, so I don't know the ins and outs of that. But.
Yeah, well, there's also going to be a certain standard of like what they feel is acceptable in terms of what they want to achieve. They may say like, well, that's not enough. We have to do better because we have to do more than that. We have to go beyond that in certain ways that may not even be really that noticeable on the user end.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. That stuff is all easier, I think, than adding content to the game. Though I gotta tell you, when that person posted the note with the the name of the monster. Remember, he was in the Elven Quarter, and they
Oh yeah.
saw the bar, and
Yep.
then one of the guys that does the um, add-ons or whatever, basically said, "Hey, I did a search. That's in the game, right?
Right.
That name." I got way excited. I'm like, "Holy
Yeah.
shit! They put an ent in the game.
Right.
I want an angry ent."
I racked my
To
brain for a long time about why an int would be inside Moria, and I still don't know how they would set that up, but I'm here for it. You know.
Well, I don't know. I started thinking maybe it came in when it was smaller
Yeah.
with the elven stuff and grew.
Yep.
Maybe it found its way in slowly over time. I mean, there are large areas in um, Moria, and Ents don't drown, by the way. I mean, they're not affected by water. He could have gone
Right.
underwater.
Yep.
And so now, why would it have gotten hung? Why would it have hung out here? Maybe it was looking for the Entwives. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that I
Ooh.
could have gotten
Maybe
over
it is
really
an
quick.
Entwive.
Oh, that's true. I could have gotten over all of that really fast if there was a new boss to fight that
Right.
occasionally sprouted up. And the
Yep.
Ent didn't fight us, but it like animated the trees to fight us or whatever. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
So you cut down too many trees and eventually the Ent comes after you.
Yeah. Or it could even be a quest giver that sometimes you have to protect. And that's why it's got a health bar.
Right. Wasn't Al Alway's wife, the dwarven god's wife, the mother of nature who created the Ents? And I
I'm not
remember in one of the books, I forget which one, where she's like, "Well, they're going to stop the dwarves from getting wood." And he's like, "Well, the dwarves need wood for their craft." And she's like, "Well, they'll have to defend themselves." And I'm like, "Well, I guess they will."
right.
Like, I remember something along those lines. I don't remember the exact lines, but I remember that reading it.
Zeta says yes. Her name is Yavanna.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe she put it there. I don't know. I could have gotten over the fact that there was an Ent in Moria.
Yeah.
An
Yep.
angry, confused Ent or Ent wife that occasionally attacked you if you cut down too many trees. I'm just saying I would have liked it. Particularly if you couldn't destroy it and then it just reformed, right? It
Right.
regrew. So like
Yep.
every 20th tree you cut down or whatever, there was a chance that it was an Ent.
Yeah.
And it was pissed.
Yeah. Kind of like it would be like the mini boss equivalent of an orc war chief or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could get behind that.
But I think that I guess what I'm trying to say is that's in line with what you were saying. I got
Yeah.
all of a sudden excited that there may be a new boss, right?
Yep.
And a new thing to go
Hmm.
after.
Absolutely.
So I get what you're saying. I feel it. I grok it. I get it. Okay. Now I've got one more door to do, and I've got my basic outline done.
And if I'm being 100% honest, if they would just give us some hard information about this is happening and it will be here by this time, and I know that they don't like to give dates because they don't want to fail on delivering on time, but I also have no problem giving them grace on missing a deadline as long as it's clear that they're working on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something tells me with John Paul You're not going to get that from him. I mean, his company, he's the producer, director, whatever. I mean,
I get it. But if I hired somebody to do a job for me and they couldn't give me something like a deadline, I'd fire them.
of
You know what I mean?
course, of
Like,
course. I totally get what you're saying. In fact, I actually don't disagree. I mean, you realize every day in my job, we produce software for people to use, or
right.
products and services based on software that people use. Do you know what would happen, how long I'd last if I said, it'll get there when it gets there, and I may or may not be working on it, but, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't last 2 minutes in this job, or any job. People, and it's not so much that you've you have a failure and there's a problem and you're a month late.
Yeah.
Oh, shit happens. But you gotta tell people what you're doing.
Like Pyrovec just said in my chat, he said dates could even be vague, like Q3. Like if you thought you were going to have it done by Q3, by the end of Q3, that was your internal office goal of the end of Q3, then tell us we're going to get it sometime in Q4. And if we get it early, we'll be that much happier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, lie to
The
me.
old Scotty rule of engineering.
Right.
It'll take me a month, Captain. It's ready in an hour. Well,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. God, you're a genius.
Yeah, my wife over here, who's a big Star Trek fan. Don't be busted on Scotty.
I think the big thing is that, like, and a lot of people, particularly people who are impatient, and because some end users are, but when you're working on something professionally, what people really need is to be able to say, have some sort of expectation about where you're heading, and that progress is actually happening toward that.
Yeah.
And so if you say, and if it's not, then to actually get something that tells them, like, is progress happening? Is it not? Is this game, like, going to ever have, a build system when things are crumbling? Like, if you're sitting there as an end user and you're like, I want to build in this game, but I don't know if they're even working on improving the build system, because there was a time when that was a question. Like, we didn't know. They weren't telling us. A reasonable thing to do if you are not happy with the build system is to move on.
Yeah.
To just say, okay, that game will never be a good game, move on, and never even look back. That's
absolutely.
And that is the healthy thing for somebody to do, really, if they aren't having fun.
Sure.
Right.
And so you've got to ask, are you creating a healthy relationship with your player base? Because that's really what any venture is it's a relationship with a person who's providing something and the person who is receiving that, right? Your customers aren't just prey. They're the people that you're trying to deliver something.
They're part of the equation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I trust me. I live that, as I'm sure you do too, every day, and I get it. And customers aren't always great to work with, and they're opinionated, and sometimes they're just downright wrong. But I get it. I just don't.
And I'm not arguing with you necessarily. I'm just
I know.
trying to frame things in a way that helps to understand, from my perspective, why actually what you're saying you want is what we typically go for, right? Instead of doing what we may have seen at times with the Return to Moria development process.
Right.
So let me ask a question, because I'm not a computer programmer guy, and I don't even know how half this shit works. But so they brought the game on. Like, we've had some big updates. Like, that's like huge in most games, right? Because we came on, we had what, the golden update, the tree update, all these other patches and stuff. Is that like, are these guys going above and beyond with this game opposed to other games that, like, it takes forever to get the bugs worked out of them? Like, there's a couple games I played, the build system's such crap where you can't get the roofs to line up and this and that, and it's just hard. But this is just like, they streamlined it so fast. Where am I totally wrong on this?
I don't know the answer to your question. I see changes in the game. I don't understand the frameworks, and I'm not a game developer. It also has to do with the size of the team. This is a small indie company.
Saying that.
They are a small indie company, dear. They are small in comparison to, a AAA game manufacturer. These people are tiny, and they list all those people at the end of the game. But right now on staff, John Paul told me he's got a dozen people or less at any particular time. And they share resources for like graphic artists with other games and stuff like that, so it's really a pool of people he pays basically by the hour to do some of the work.
Freelance stuff almost.
Yeah. And I have to think that for them, there's a certain amount of, what do I want to call it? Passion for the game, I think. It's,
Yeah.
they have personal drive behind the game. Anyway.
Right.
Is this their full-time job?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes, this
How many
is,
other products do they have?
I think they have a handful. They have like 4 products total.
I
Yeah, I
have
think so.
heard that they, I've read that they describe themselves as a AA developer rather than a AAA developer, but consider themselves to be something more than indie.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that shock you? That shocks me. They seem more of an indie to me.
They're definitely closer to what I would consider indie than what I would consider like AAA by far. Like, AAA, many AAA games have hundreds of people on their dev team.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a level of refinement
Kashumi said
and
publishers get
like
very sensitive about what
an
you call
ability
them,
to
especially the indie title.
stick to the project on this that you don't see in a lot of indie developers unless it's like a one-man team or a two-man team doing things that they can just keep doing. So
Kasumi just said publishers get very sensitive about what you call them, especially the indie title.
yeah.
Do they consider it an insult? I certainly didn't mean it as an insult.
I do think a lot of publishers are don't want that as necessarily don't necessarily want that association.
Kashumi said some do. Yes.
Yeah, Kasumi agrees with you. That's surprising. Okay.
And that depends a lot on the publisher, too.
Well, if
because
any
some
of them are
publishers,
listening to this, I didn't mean it as a derogatory term. Just
if you take like I think pretty much, say Hooded Horse, pretty much all their games, as far as I know, are indie games, and I think they're quite happy to stand behind that terminology.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people out there that see it as a badge of honor. And I'm sure
Yeah.
there's companies out there that would would feel differently about it depending on what context it was used in. Like, Free Range Games hasn't been afraid to say we're a small company, so we have limited resources, so give us a break. But they also probably don't want to be seen as an indie game.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't say for certain what their internal reasoning is, but it's certainly a plausible explanation for why I've read that they prefer to be that the developer
Why they don't want to be seen as small indie
Free
company.
Range perceives themselves as a AA. And that may be because NBG may actually prefer not to associate with
Right.
All right. Fair enough.
Also, I wonder what kind of implication it has on securing deals with big IPs like Middle Earth.
That right there is probably as much a factor.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
Middle
all
Earth
I
is
know
way
is
more likely to give their IP or sell their IP to a AAA company than it is an indie company.
Yeah.
well, they're definitely not a AAA company. Most AAA
No.
companies nowadays are all into the microtransactions, and I'm not talking about the DLCs like come out 4 times a year for $3-5. Most
No,
of
like
them are all like, yo, you want one item, it's $3 or up to $10 for every little nitpicky little thing, and you're constantly feeding it little itsy bitsy drabs of cash. And
oh yeah, like
my wife is
Fortnite
like, I
games and
like
stuff like
that.
that.
No.
Yeah, that's, but they slowly suck you dry of cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, just enjoy it. Okay, dear. Yeah. Anyway,
Give me what I want.
I know John Paul didn't want to do that, but I was one of the voices, and I know some of you were too, that said, no, dude, you got to at least charge something for the game that continues
Right.
the investment.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Kasumi and I talked about this earlier. Like, I said John Paul was really reluctant to do DLCs because he didn't want to seem like he was preying on the community. But we all encouraged him by saying, "This is how we're going to support you to make more content that's not DLC content, right?" And but her point was, okay, but if that's what you're going to do, if you're saying that you're selling DLCs so that you can make bigger content that's not going to be charged for, then you also have to tease the bigger content.
No, I
You
don't
also have to let
disagree
us know
with
what's
that.
going on with the bigger content.
Don't disagree with
Because
that at
then
all.
he's shooting himself in the foot and he looks like he's preying on the community with the DLCs.
Yeah. That's true.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was a very solid point.
Okay, infrastructure laid out, all poisonous mushrooms covered or obscured, all the walls put in. Oh, I missed a section. Now I gotta start building buildings.
So Axbeard, do you remember this build that I started in the mines? I think it's in the mines.
I remember that you started one in the mines. I'll have to come look at it to refresh my memory. But
the telltale features of what made the build unusual. So
You're
I've
being
got
very vague. Is
well,
this some
I've
secret?
You, you should come take a look, but after respawn, because it's just gotten a lot more hazardous here.
Hazardous?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember now. Yep. I just looked at the map stone. Now I remember.
Which map stone
Yeah.
are we talking about?
It's the last one on the Western Halls one. It's called Orc Preservation Society.
All right, so don't go there right now.
Well, it's a lot more. Well, actually, there's some orcs. Okay, it's fairly safe. What happens is, it's also in a rockfall room.
Oh,
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, they're terrible to build in because you got the rocks falling on you all the time. But the rocks, what I have learned trying this silly thing, is the rocks sort of choose randomly what they're going to drop onto based on how many people are in the area. So if it's you and a room full of orcs, most of the rocks will not fall on you. So I'm pretty
Nice.
safe building until the rocks have killed all the orcs, and then it becomes really hazardous.
Right. It looks like you can count on the goats to protect you as well.
Yes.
Got away.
I saw some orcs walking around over that way.
Yeah.
well, interesting.
see
I never
There they
ever
are.
considered. Oh, there's a camp right there.
Leave the camp alone. Yep.
I'm
camp is
not
how I-
touching the camp.
Camp is how I verify that the orcs continue to respawn.
Kashomi said and snack crats, they get hit by a lot of rocks.
Yeah, snack rats get hit too.
Oh,
And
they're
also
aggroed on somebody.
I can scoop up sapphires and black diamonds and things like that from time to time.
Right.
Oh, the room next door. We didn't repair this statue.
We hadn't explored down here, and last week I was running around and I broke into this and explored these halls down here and found that orc camp.
Yeah, I forgot about this. This is good stuff.
I'm gonna build a base right here.
Oh,
The only dwarf that said, these orcs are bothering me. I'm going to wall them in instead of killing them.
It works.
technically, you're farming them.
Right, right. That is true.
I'm
Did
gonna
you purposely build this little climbing point over here? I will.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought.
It's a little bit more reliable when the rocks are
Right.
falling louder.
Right. Sorry, Kasumi.
We should build something over this steam vent to make it decorative.
Mm.
And that one over there.
You just plug the steam vent.
No, no.
Oh, he wants to make it look decorative, though. Alaskan Care says it should be a sauna.
Ah,
Just lure people into it.
Yeah,
This'll
go hang
warm
out in
you
the sauna. Yeah. It's nice and cozy.
I think you have to be on it. I wonder how far away you have to be before you take damage.
Yeah, I might be able to build enough above it to.
I bet it
So-
doesn't go beyond half a story, 2 barriers tall. Certainly not above a whole barrier, I would think. I mean a whole wall, 4 barriers tall.
Oops. That's not what I'm trying to build. see.
I
Stone
mean,
barracks.
I'm pretty much standing in it right now and not getting damaged. I mean, I've got my ring of power armor on, but I still would see the numbers if it was hitting me.
I'm seeing zeros, and I'm 2 barriers up. So
2 barriers. Yeah, that would be my guess.
let's see if
Because
that was blocked.
we build the wooden scaffold or whatever over them all the time.
3 up. Took some damage there.
Hmm. Really?
Yep.
How about at
Try
4?
Yep. Still taking.
That's surprising because I've built the. Wonder if it has to do with what you're standing on.
Oh,
Use
could be.
one of the wooden planks, the V. You know.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
quick build platform.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
Let's see what happens if I just stick a quick build platform down there between me and the steam vent. Nope, still taking damage.
Hmm.
I stand directly on a quick build platform.
Interesting.
That
I'm
hurts.
standing 2 blocks above on a quick platform, and it's still doing damage to me.
Okay. Yeah. Whoops. Can't snap that quite right. Okay. This seems to be how high up I have to be. How many is that? Is that 7?
That's a lot higher than I would have thought.
It's higher than I would have thought, too.
It doesn't damage the building blocks.
Yeah, that is true. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. But I mean the steam animation, like the visible steam, does go up. It still goes up that high and higher. So
How many blocks did you have to get?
7.
Wow.
Yeah. Just shy of 2 stories. That's a lot. Oh, I lack inspiration right now and I'm starting to fall asleep in my chair.
You lasted longer than I thought you would.
Yeah, it was a long day and then I had to mow the lawn and it rained while I was in the middle of mowing and I cooked dinner and now I'm tired.
We had rain here
Alright.
today too, but I don't think I'm gonna get to mow until Sunday.
Oh, we got rain Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
My new mower should be here tomorrow, so
Oh, good luck.
Yay.
yeah.
Good night, everybody.